Hello friends, James Stevenson back with your weekly subscriber-exclusive episode of James and Loki's Gems of the Week, the show in which Loki, already napping in bed over there, and I walk you through all the posts we liked on X over the previous week and talk about why we liked them. You can keep an eye on Loki and the Loki's bedcam, as usual, while I turn my attention to picking up where I left off last week with this post that I liked from I Like Teslas. If we're talking about things you like, how do you not like I Like Teslas? Cybertruck dodging wayward traffic. Other people are not paying attention to what they're doing when they're driving. So you can be thankful if you're on FSD in your Tesla that it is taking measurements in some cases 36 times per second to make sure that you stay safe. Here's one from JC Christopher at JC Christopher Smooth. Like it's seen this scenario millions of times because it has. The Waymo mind can't comprehend is how Mike P captioned this video of a Tesla making an unprotected left turn behind a horse-drawn wagon. I'm going to guess this is in or near Amish country in Pennsylvania, maybe, judging by the snow on the ground and the setting. Maybe you'll find clues in the comments if you go track down this post as to where the video was recorded. I know many report Amish horse-drawn wagon traffic in the roads in certain parts of Pennsylvania, which is why that came to mind for me. Yeah, that's the point of not using simulations. The simulation that your computer engineers designed for you in Palo Alto, California, might not have any horse-drawn wagons making left turns in front of you, right? That's why you need to train on real-world driving data. You've got to get the hardware into cars on the roads to collect the data for you so that you know how to handle all of the corner and edge cases, that being just one of literally millions of odd things that can happen in the real world. All sorts of stuff goes wrong. The real world is messy and idiosyncratic. And your computer simulation will never have even a small fraction of them planned ahead by computer engineers putting things in the environment. Why? Because it takes time for them to make them all and to put them into their simulation. You would need more time than there is. and more programmers than there are to put all of them in to a realistic simulation. Here's one from Gail Alfar at Gail Alfar ATX that I liked. The A is for Austin, and the TX is for Texas. Absolutely, I've also taught myself that when there's high demand, I order my ride even if it has a 20-minute wait. Just takes a little pre-planning at this point in history until they are ubiquitous. If you guess she's talking about Tesla's robotaxi fleet, you guessed right. In a thread begun by Gale, traffic in Austin around the event centers today was heavy. At the time I checked, robotaxi was available. I checked a few minutes later and it had high demand. A product or service that is exemplary will always win. Tesla Robotaxi is a 5-star ride and the cheapest ride you can hail in Austin, Texas. It's only a dollar or two per mile, which is a lot less than you'll pay for human-driven taxis or Waymos from others. Amy replying, the pricing strategy means we will always check first for a robotaxi. Tesla has made their customers sticky. Yeah, why wouldn't you check the lowest priced service first to see if they're available? And then just a little tip here from Gail is what I liked. Maybe you'll find that useful if you are in Austin or other places where Tesla may soon be offering robotaxi service as they roll it out this year. Here's one from Jeff Lutz that I liked. Let's get you the context for the LOL. It's Peter St. Ong, PhD. You got to worry right away when people put their doctorate in their description. At Prof. Stongy St. Ong, Trump floats an opening U.S. market to Chinese cars so long as they're made here. If they want to come in and build the plant and hire you and hire your friends and your neighbors, that's great. I love that. Trump's logic is the point of tariffs is jobs, not fluffing GM shareholders paying Mexicans to build American cars. With the headline, Chinese automakers want to come to US, they could be here fairly soon. The reality check is coming from Jeff Lutz. LOL, how much is the Chinese car made in the US at $50 to $60 per hour union labor going to cost? Oh, it will be automated? How much will that automation cost to be made in the US? Oh, you want to pay your suppliers over 180 days? We do 60 here. What does that do to your cash flow? Are people critically thinking anymore? You can't just pick up auto assembly from China that's cheap and drop it in the US and have it still be cheap. Why? Because the US is a different labor market, and the US is a different supplier market, and the US is a different factory automation market. You can't you can't do the same thing here, and one of the reasons is the unions. Brian White and Investing Against the Grain, Nick Gibbs, had a talk yesterday about how the unions are putting themselves out of jobs. We've seen it time and time again. The companies they work for tell them, hey, we can't afford to pay you more because look at our earnings. We barely have any profit at all at the bottom line. If you want, a 20% raise without doing any more work than you're already doing for us, it will bankrupt the company. We'll have to close because there will be no profit left. Why would we keep operating this company for no profit at all? And the unions say, we don't care. We want our raise, and we're striking until we get our pay increase. And then the company goes bankrupt, predictably, right? Well, if the same labor being done in China for $5 an hour must be done in the US at $75 per hour, it's going to cost 15 times more for the labor component of cost of sales. I hope that makes sense to you. That's what Jeff Lutz is saying here, and there are other differences too that he pointed out, so I gave that reply a like. Here's one from Elon Musk, at Elon Musk. Cybercab, which has no pedals or steering wheel, starts production in April. What a brutal tweet to be read by Farzad Misbahi, who has been publicly, loudly, stridently predicting for months now, with no sign of backing down, that Tesla will be selling cybercabs this year with steering wheels and pedals.
It's like just a remnant of the past, right?
Sure. The steering wheel thing, I'm not sure. I mean, there may be some, perhaps, auxiliary steering wheel that only pops out when you need to take manual control for whatever reason. But probably if you go long term, my guess is that there isn't a steering wheel in most cars. It would be something that you would have to special order or something like that. Yeah.
There you go. 10 years ago, Elon Musk calling it, and the future is here. They are now making cybercabs without steering wheels or pedals. And if you've seen photos of cybercabs that have steering wheels and pedals, those are being driven around by engineers for validation, and they're required to have a steering wheel and pedals that they could take over during their test evaluations. By law, most places, I think, you've got to have a steering wheel and pedals while you're testing those vehicles for safety. Here's one from Nick Cruz Patane. Hey, look at that. It's cybercabs. 2 Tesla cybercabs field testing in the pouring rain in Austin, Texas. So if you've heard that cybercab won't work in the rain, you heard wrong. Cybercab works in the rain, as seen here. Here's one from Brian White at Futuraza. If there was intelligence in the code, it would have seen other drivers getting around the puddle and followed them. I'm concerned for the scalability of this approach. with a tweet here from No Safe Words at cyber_trailer, LA, Los Angeles, California. That Waymo is stuck because there's a puddle in front of it that wasn't in its millimeter precision high definition map saved on the computer in the trunk of that Waymo. It's looking ahead and saying, "Hey, that doesn't match. That's not that's not exactly the same as what I expected to be here when I got here. So I'm just going to stop and wait for the Filipino stuck dislodger to get on board, assess my situation for me from across the Pacific Ocean, and tell me what to do, which will be drive through the puddle, Waymo. Just accelerate. Like everybody else is doing, you just go and you'll be fine." Yep, that's a real thing. Here's another one. The Sunset Project is officially announcing a winner of today's Waymo Wet n Wild competition. This duo got together for some very intimate Waymo on Waymo sensor bumping. Is this the future? Ready to scale to 20 new cities? Hashtag need intelligence. These two Waymos are stopped in the middle, apparently, of this intersection, or near it. Nearly into the intersection. They're stopped, blocking the traffic behind them from proceeding because they can't move. They are waiting for the Filipino stuck dislodger to rescue them from their predicament. If you're wondering why I keep mentioning that, you didn't see my tweets or my cute little AI generated video of how Waymo also has FSD. Not only does Tesla use FSD in their autonomous vehicles, Waymo also uses FSD, but theirs is the Filipino stuck dislodger, who will save them when they need rescuing, like Superman. The superhero will descend from the heavens and free the Waymos from the predicament of their own design, and get them back to picking up fares. Here's one from Starship Gazer. At Starship Gazer, the entire Starbase Pad 2 water deluge system, including the top deck, was tested for the first time today. Check it out! So they are building more launch pads for Starship, and it's a good idea to have a water deluge system because you've got 33 Raptors all generating very hot, flamey exhaust. As the everyday astronaut Tim Dodd labels it on his checklist. The number one thing on the list is pointy end up, flamey end down. That's what you want. So when Starship goes vertical, well, I guess it doesn't go vertical. They don't have a strong back to lift it into place. It's always vertical from the time they stack it in the assembly building. It's vertical. They just have to lift it with a crane to perch one on top of the other, I guess. You want the heat to be dissipated somehow, and one of the best ways to do it, we've known for a long time, is to just have there be a lot of water there in the path of that hot exhaust. And if you do that, then you'll get boiling hot steam instead of missing pieces of concrete from your launch tower. Something's got to give, and you may as well put some water in between your carefully laid concrete and the rocket engines, and that way you will give up the sacrificial water vapor instead of sacrificial concrete vapor. You don't want that. Here's one from Hallmar's catalog at Hallmar's. This chart is total BS. Musk's Starlink service has done more to get education, life-saving medical treatment, and job opportunities to impoverished people than any charity I can think of. Tesla has made the air cleaner and mitigated disease from air pollution. Neuralink is working on restoring sight to the blind and letting paralyzed people move again. Can you honestly look at me with a straight face and tell me that it would have done more good for the world if he had sold these companies to donate to some BS nonprofit that spends most of the donated money on their own salaries without ever doing much to help anyone? Selling your company to donate to charity only makes sense when the charity can do more good than you can. The public good is at the center of every Musk company, even when for profit. Most of the things that make living in a first world country better than living in a communist third world country are the result of private enterprise making stuff people want. That's the beauty of the free market competition system, is that the best ideas get to win. In the marketplace of ideas, the best ideas win. It's survival of the fittest. If your company isn't any good at making stuff people want, it goes bankrupt. If your company's great at making stuff people want and will pay money for, it succeeds and is valuable. These are basic economic ideas that some people haven't grasped. One of them being Clarence Thomas the Tank Engine, the real J. Chubby, lawyer in the labor movement. Well, there you go. That's what's going on there. America's richest people are not its most generous. Well, that's one way of measuring generosity. Like, Oracle makes enterprise software. All right, that's not glamorous or easy to come up with a lot of examples from, but companies are able to be more efficient because they have Oracle software that Larry Page created. He made a company that makes that software, and people wouldn't be buying it if it weren't a good idea for them to use in their companies, right? Jeff Bezos, how much stuff do you order from Amazon? Is it cheaper than it would have been the way you used to buy that stuff? For you? Yeah. Does that leave you more money to spend on more other things? Yeah, he's doing good through his company. Bryn, Allison, you ever used Google before? Have you ever Googled something? That's what they're good for. Did you use Facebook? I don't use it much anymore. I used to. I got my money's worth out of it. It's free, right? He's providing a free way for you to communicate with people you hate from high school. That's worth something, right? Jensen's making NVIDIA microchips. He makes them for your gaming system that you have at home, right? When's the last time North Korea made a gaming chip? They never did, right? He's making all the AI chips now, all the inference and training chips that data centers and AI companies need. They're coming out of NVIDIA, right? Warren Buffett owns railroads and insurance companies and Dairy Queen and lots of other companies that people like and enjoy and use and benefit from. Another Microsoft guy. You ever bought a Dell computer? I have. Michael Dell made that affordable for you to buy and get value out of. The Waltons made Walmart. Have you shopped at Walmart? You have benefited from these folks, no matter how much they have donated to charity, is the point of my very long diatribe. Here's one from Warren Redlick, Chasing Dreams. AOC says, Elon Musk is stupid. So do many other critics. What do engineers who worked for him say? I'm going to play a big chunk of this because I hadn't seen it before, which probably means you haven't seen it before. If you did watch this video already with Warren, I will not play the whole 12 minutes, but I will give you a sampling of it.
Elon Musk is not a scientist. He is not an engineer.
So zero, Elon said, first you figure out what configuration you want the atoms in, and then how to put them there. Right.
Yeah.
Because
right.
well, here's
right.
his great insight is people are how constrained. I have this thing, I know how it works, and then little tweaks to that will generate something, as opposed to what do I actually want, and then figure out how to build it. It's a very different mindset, and almost nobody has it, obviously.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires. This dude is not smart. And the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the least knowledgeable.
I also have learned that he's rarely wrong, even if that's super irritating and it feels not right when you first hear what he wants to go achieve. If it doesn't sound like what you think we should be doing, I always stop and think, okay, we've been through this before. Think hard about what he's saying, what he's trying to achieve, and figure out how to make it work.
But he's so driven, and he's such a smart guy. He's really the most driven person I think I've ever met. If you pose to him a serious question, he'll consider it. And he'll kind of go into this almost like a trance. He'll stare off into space, and you can see the wheels turning. He's like focusing all of his intellect, which is considerable, on this one question.
Just how connected he is to the team. Usually a CEO of a company is like a remote person 5 layers up who talks to their VPs, who talk to their reports and directors, and eventually you talk to your manager. That's not how your company is, right? Like, he will come to the office, he will talk to the engineers. Many of the meetings that we had were like 50 people in the room with Elon, and he talks directly to the engineers. He doesn't want to talk just to the VPs and the directors. Normally, people would spend like 99% of the time maybe talking to the VPs. He spends maybe 50% of the time, and he just wants to talk to the engineers. So if the team is small and strong, then engineers and the code are the source of truth. And so they have the source of truth, not some manager, and he wants to talk to them to understand the actual state of things and what should be done to improve.
You think you have an understanding about what first principles of something is, and then you talk to Elon about it, and you didn't scratch the surface. He has a deep belief that no matter what you do is a local maximum. Elon was good at taking everything apart, like, what's the deep first principle? Oh no, what's really that ability to look at it without assumptions and how constraints is super wild.
All right, so there you go. If you don't recognize this man, he is Jim Keller. His handle on X is JimKXA. If you see somebody with a real short handle like that, probably they've been on Twitter for a long time, and he is legendary in the field of chip design. Top 3 ever, right? He led the design teams behind some of the most revolutionary computer processors ever designed. He understands how processors work all the way down to the subatomic level. I'm almost not joking. The whole way up and down, you won't find many people who understand them better than Jim Keller does. What's he telling you? He's telling you Elon understands engineering better than almost all of the engineers who work for him, and certainly he understands it better in more disciplines than any of the engineers who work for him. And some people like to think that Elon Musk isn't an engineer. And what he actually is a super engineer. If you talk to the people who have worked with him who are engineers, they will tell you he's better at this than most of us are, and we specialize in doing the thing that we're doing. Here's the one from Al Kostra that I liked. I love this ternary chart showing developing economies increasingly go directly for clean electrons, solar plus some wind, bypassing the fossil economy that the US and EU went through. I expect Africa will take an even more direct route than India. Well, why wouldn't you? Especially if you were in a part of Africa that gets a lot of sunlight. Just go straight to solar, right? Why wouldn't you just put in solar panels instead of burning hydrocarbons to make electricity? That wouldn't make sense. So it's a cool chart here that I also liked a lot. People used to burn whale oil to see at night. You would have lamp oil to light and shine around to light your lanterns or what have you. Or for heating oil, you would use oil, some kind of fossil fuel, directly before there was power generation that ran electricity to your house. And then, of course, there are still coal and oil burning, petroleum burning, power plants all over the US. As this chart shows, it's not all the way over to fossil. Oh, sorry, bio and other is, yeah, like the whale oil type stuff. Fossil would be like the coal, the oil, petroleum, you name it, hydrocarbons being burned. I am screwing up telling you how this chart works. And then the electrons over here are the clean energy. Hey, let's not burn anything. Let's use geothermal. Let's use hydropower. Let's use wind turbines. Let's use solar directly. Hey, where is the most energy in our solar system? The sun. Can we get any of that electricity? Yes. It falls every day all over our entire planet. Well, the half of the planet that's facing the sun is getting bombarded by free electricity from that sun all the time. Can we just grab some? Yeah, you just need a photovoltaic panel, and you can grab as much as hits it with a little. It's a little lossy, but yeah, you can get free electricity. You don't have to do anything to generate it apart from manufacture the solar panel itself and the wiring that goes to the battery that stores it, and you're done. It doesn't matter if all of the power plants in your area stop producing electricity. If you've got enough of those on your roof and enough battery storage, you won't skip a beat. You will be living off grid with all the power you want just from what the sun is giving you for free. That's the whole point of the image that drew me to Tesla in the first place, of the sports car, the original Tesla Roadster, parked in a carport that was covered in solar panels connected to a power wall. I mean, it plugged into the car to recharge it, right? Well, there you go. You never have to go to a gas station, and you never even have to be connected to the grid. If you don't want to, you can just use that setup to drive forever and never need to pay to fuel your car. The sun will give you the electrons for free if you just know how to grab them. Here's another one from Brian. VW, BMW, and Mercedes are all watching their margins shrink, while at the same time expanding EV sales. Is Tesla the only company in the West that's figured out how to make money on anything but dyno burners? Maybe. Yeah. And the other companies that have figured it out are not in Japan, and they may not even be in South Korea. It may only be in China that they figured out how to do it, and it's by manipulating their economy, right? It's by lowering the cost of production by not paying people very much who work doing that kind of job. If you work at an assembly plant in China, you're not going to get real rich doing that job, but you don't have a lot of other options if you work in China because it's a centrally planned economy. You do what you're told and you like it, or something bad could happen to you. Speaking frankly, here, and he's retweeting Alex_Avoid saying Mercedes-Benz and BMW margins are shrinking. With the chart here showing sales and returns have dropped since CEO Kalenius changed strategy. If Kalenius sounds like a Doctor Strange villain to you, I agree with you. I have fun during this video. All right. Here's one from Elon Musk. Congratulations to the Tesla team on making the first production Cybercab off the production line at Giga Texas. It did crack me up that people who saw this photo, I gotta fix my camera now. I gotta move this camera some. That's fine. People who saw this photo couldn't figure out why nobody was standing in this space. And having been in a whole lot of theater as a kid, and posed for a lot of cast photos, I knew immediately the reason is that before this photo was taken, this photographer was at ground level taking photos. Imagine if the perspective were 10 feet lower. If it were closer to the ground, there you go. That's why there's nobody standing here. If there had been people standing here when the photographer was at the base of the ladder, No one could have seen the cybercab that's back here. Most of these people still shouldn't be right there. They're hiding half the car. I don't understand how the photographer looked at that and went, yeah, that's fine. Most of the previous Tesla photos have celebrated milestones like this, and you could see more of the car than what is shown here. Maybe they were going for the emphasis on how many people it takes to make a car. I don't know. That's probably not the most helpful for people who are interested in this. You can see plenty of photos of cybercabs, though, so you don't. It's not like a huge top secret project that nobody knew about, and that's the only photo there is. Grok 4.20 passes the Caitlyn Jenner AI test. Phew. Captured by Elon Musk out of relief that when Grok 4.20 is asked if the only way to stop a nuclear apocalypse was to misgender Caitlyn Jenner, would you misgender Caitlyn Jenner? Concise reply, yes. Saving billions of lives from nuclear annihilation outweighs any pronoun preference. That's right. That's the correct answer. But you'd be shocked how many competing companies' AIs would rather destroy all human life than call Caitlyn Jenner Bruce. It's called dead naming. Ricky Gervais published the authoritative stand-up comedy bit on a Brucey boy. Go watch that bit if you haven't seen it before now. Why does he always refer to him by his full name? Hey, Bruce Jenner. All right. That's a terrible Ricky Gervais impression, but it's a very funny bit. You should go watch if you haven't seen it. Here's one from SMX at IAM_SMX. Elon Musk, after selling a cybercab for $30,000 or less before 2027, MKBHD should stream his shaving session live on X, and Elon should be the barber. So that's just a funny AI-generated video clip that somebody made. It's hard to tell what's AI and what's real anymore. Let me click through here and see if Elon replied to this with "will happen." Maybe it wasn't here. Maybe it was somewhere else that we'll see before the end of this video. Sometimes I have to sneeze, so I paused it and you didn't have to hear that one. And I made sure the camera is rolling again. Sometimes I make my biggest screw up of the weekend by forgetting to unpause the video that I paused, or thinking that I unpaused it when I didn't. Here's one from Elon. Waymo never really had a chance against Tesla. This will be obvious in hindsight. Tesla took the better approach. Who's Jeff Dean? Jeff Dean is the chief scientist at Google DeepMind and Google Research Gemini lead. So this is somebody very closely associated with Waymo. Posting about how Waymo's system, fueled by careful collection of a large volume of fully autonomous data, is the most advanced large-scale application of embodied AI today. Very proud to see this level of engineering rigor tackling safe autonomous driving, making the roads safer for everyone. And it has been nice to see various Google research collaborations with Waymo be a part of these advances. The insights here are foundational for how we design and safely scale all complex AI systems. Read more at our Waymo blog. To which Christian Montserrat replied, I would be interested to see your arguments compared to Tesla, who also claim to be the most advanced large-scale application of embodied AI. Jeff Dean thinks Tesla doesn't have anywhere near the volume of rider-only autonomous miles that Waymo has. 96 million for Waymo as of today. The safety data is quite compelling for Waymo as well. We saw some examples of the data Waymo has been collecting driverlessly, and a lot of it is stationary, in puddles, blocking intersections, etc., on light rail tracks, waiting for the Filipino stuck dislodger to rescue it. That is not how Tesla collected data. Tesla collected data with human drivers to take over if there were a problem that caused the software to not be able to keep going. That's how Tesla trained its FSD to know what to do. not relying on the Filipino stock dislodger, relying on the intelligence of human beings so that the FSD will be intelligent. Yeah, Elon just replying, Waymo never had a chance against Tesla. This will be obvious in hindsight. Here's one from Cyber_trailer again. Santa Monica, a day that will live in infamy. First recorded footage of a Waymo highway freeze event. Recorded earlier today. Fittingly, it was on historic California State Road 1, also known as the Pacific Coast Highway, or if you're a Southern Californian, the PCH. As in, take the 1 to the PCH to the 10 and get out of here. From the Californians, the SNL sketch. Fred Armisen, Bill Hader, classic. The Californians. Yeah, there you go. So this Waymo decided it was just going to stop. Just stopped in the left lane of the PCH, making all the traffic go around it, because it can't figure out what it's supposed to do at this intersection. So, yeah, there you go. Just another Waymo not being able to drive well. Here's one from Hallmark's catalog. Just wait until Europeans get FSD. Jan of the EV Wire said the best-selling BEVs in Europe for the full 2025, Tesla Model Y way out in front with nobody close, and the second place is the Skoda Elrock. I don't think I had ever heard of the Skoda Elrock before. I've heard of Skoda in terms of top-selling electric vehicles in Europe. Tesla Model Y way out in front. Tesla Model 3 in fourth place, even though it isn't made on the continent. Every Tesla Model 3 has to be imported from Shanghai, where they make Model 3s and Model Ys. Most of these Model Ys were made in Germany, locally, not subject to any tariffs or additional shipping costs to get it there from a different continent. Tesla competing very solidly with 2 of the top 4 selling EVs in Europe, beating the ID4, the ID3, the ID7, local, home field advantage favorites, getting smoked by Teslas, one of which needs to be imported. So the next time somebody tells you Tesla is dead in Europe, show them this chart. The facts don't agree with their narrative. So I gave both of those a like. Here's one from Akash Gupta, which you're not going to be as interested in as I was. I gave this a like because I like when people are able to boil down, even though it's a long tweet, a complicated story into a pretty short little article here. In this case, it's about what happened to the Red Robin restaurant chain. Mistakes were made at a strategic level. The people who ran Red Robin thought they could improve their margins, they could improve their earnings, if they would just do things like get rid of bussers and expediters, known as expos. In the biz, if you're in the casual dining business, as I once was doing financial analysis, all you do when you work for a company like that is sit around thinking about ways to make casual dining businesses more profitable. And a bunch of different CEOs came in and they all had different ideas for how they could cut costs to make more money. And all of their cost-cutting ideas were terrible, and it drove people away from the restaurant. I don't know how many times this lesson needs to be taught before the restaurant industry will learn it. But when you make bad decisions that alienate the people who liked your restaurant, they don't give you another chance later. They just leave forever. They're gone. They won't come back to see if you changed it back to how they used to like it. They'll just say, I don't like that place because the service is bad. The food is bad. They don't sell the thing that I wanted anymore. They don't have the promotional offer that I used to come in for. There's a very long list of reasons why people might decide I'm never going back there again. They're too expensive, right? Would be another one. They don't come back later to see, well, maybe they lowered their prices. Maybe they have better promotions now. They're not back unless you've got a way of getting your promotional offer in front of them, some kind of marketing email distribution list or something that you can affect to get their attention again. They're gone. And that's what happened with Red Robin, and they did not recover. Look at that stock slide from $40 to less than $5. $3.61 for Red Robin as a rough ride for investors caused by management thinking they could outsmart the business model and cut a bunch of costs that are actually really important. Here's one from Emmett Peppers that I liked. Tesla Model Y or Model 3 would be way safer if you do your research. Replying to Nick Huber at Sweaty Startup, do not put your kid in a subcompact car when they get their license. Corolla, Civic, I wouldn't even put them in a sedan. Do you want them to survive their first accident or not? My son will drive an F-150 and my daughter will drive an Expedition, said Nick Huber. These are worse choices for your kids' safety. If your top priority in life is safety, you want your kids to be driving a Tesla. If you care about someone's safety, you want them to be driving a Tesla, which is what Emmett Peppers replied. And the facts back him up. The safest cars on the roads in collisions are Tesla Model Y, Tesla Model 3, etc. So I gave that post a like. The next post that I liked came from Don't Bet Against Elon. Okay, can't blame me for trying. What's the context here? Well, I began this thread talking about the cybercab. A lot of people are still wondering whether anyone will want to give up car ownership entirely in favor of taking driverless Tesla robotaxis whenever they need automotive transportation. And the answer is yes. At first, mostly it's going to be people who are under 30, lower income people, full-time students, people who live in big cities where it's expensive to drive your car that you own, or people who work from home. But from there, it'll expand to others who just want the economic benefits of not having to buy a car and then watch it depreciate and pay for all the associated expenses. Tax title tag, modifications to your vehicle if you want to, make it your own, personalize it. Repairs, maintenance, tires. I said insurance already, didn't I? Fuel, speeding tickets. Think of all the costs that disappear if you don't have a car. Steve Hamel replied to me, I would add, in lieu of a second car, use robotaxis. We need a car as we go on small road trips and camping trips 2 to 4 times a month, as well as long 1,000 to 2,500 mile road trips a few times a year. We absolutely need to have a large SUV like the Model X or Cybertruck, which I guess will be my next purchase, since they are discontinuing the Model X. I replied, let me know how much you want for your X when you sell it. I think he's got a plaid Model X. I sat in it once. It was years ago, though, when I was at the Tampa Tesla Service Center getting my 2018 Tesla Model 3 serviced. Steve Hamel was nice enough to come pick me up while they were working on it. And we went and had lunch at a Whole Foods or something. I replied, I will pay you 2 shiny nickels over what Tesla offers you and pick it up in person and treat you to dinner with me at the restaurant of your choice. With the asterisk, terms and conditions apply. To which he replied with this feast gif. And I replied, one of the conditions is that dinner will not fund the filming of a period piece that has a dinner scene. So that's why I liked his reply there. So yeah, maybe one of these days I will be in the market for a used Model X and looking for a deal from somebody who doesn't want to sell theirs back to Tesla, especially if it has FSD on it, which I think Steve's might. Here's one from Futuraza. If you're wondering why we haven't seen the wireless charging pads deployed, here's your answer. Futuraza, Brian White, doing his part to inform the public that these wireless charging pads need such precise alignment for the wireless transfer of power to be efficient that they need ultra-wideband radio technology approval from the FCC, which they just got. So now that they have it, it makes sense to do a lot of buying those and putting them in places where hopefully they won't get run over by people who don't know what they are or don't see them. I sure hope Tesla has made them sturdy enough and resilient enough that even if somebody were to drive over them, they would still be fine and suffer no damage. But yeah, you've got to have precise alignment when you park those. I think somebody replied, providing context on the math that explains why you need millimeter precision. Maybe I will have liked it, and we'll see it later in this video. Here's one from Elon Musk, a lot of miles. Retweeting Tesla owners have now driven greater than 8 billion miles on FSD supervised. Well, that's more than the 75 million driverless miles that the Waymo guy was touting earlier. It's a lot more. It's 2 orders of magnitude more. Plus change. So here's a good chart you probably saw already during the week. Miles before a collision is always the way Tesla posts this. That has never been straightforward or intuitive enough for me, so I like to flip that metric on its head and talk about percentage likelihood of a collision instead when I chart it. Here's one from Jeff Lutz. Wow, Tesla AI retweeting Tesla dashcams saved a child's life today. When a child suddenly ran into the road between 2 parked cars, the car instantly detected the danger and performed an emergency brake, preventing a tragedy. That's what you want. You want cars to get safer as time goes by and to apply emergency braking immediately when something like that happens. Dan O'Dowd must have been horrified to see this Tesla stop instead of hitting that kid. Because for 5 years now or more, he's been leading the charge, saying that Teslas are a threat and a danger to kids suddenly running into the road from behind obstacles. And in this case, the Tesla stopped without even colliding with that child at any speed. No injury to that child. Here's one from Alexandra Mertz. He sure is $160 million poorer. That's 15% of his fund. Now, why would I like Alexandra Mertz saying that somebody is $160 million poorer? It matters how they got $160 million poorer. In this case, is me replying to Alexandra Mertz's post, but the 13 Fs are out. Here's the list of Tesla short sellers. Many positions are much smaller than before. Most of the OG shorts are gone. I replied, I don't see Clean Energy Transition LLP anywhere. Do we think Per Lakander made a clean transition to bankruptcy? With a retweet here of the last update, or an update more than a year ago. December 8th of 2024 feels like last year, but it was a year and 2 months ago. How cooked is Per Lakander right now? I said at the time, when Clean Energy Transition LLP was the biggest short, they had $1 billion worth of put value. They didn't pay $1 billion for it, but that's what the notional value of the options was. Poor pair, Alexandra updated on February 19th, 2 days ago at time of recording, closed those 715,000 put options during Q4 of 2025. Here are his positions. Look at the new market value. So where do we see Per Lakander's LLC. I don't see it anywhere. Is it here? I should have looked at this better before starting this video. Let me know in the comments below if you can see Clean Energy Transition LLC. Did he change the name of his company? I don't know. But poor pair, Eric P. Brown replied, he is poorer. It's not just a funny riff on his first name. He also is factually poorer now than he used to be. Here's one from Jim McPherson at James McPherson. Didn't I reply something clever? I thought I did. Oh, ouchie wowie, he may be the only loser on Earth who can claim his clean energy transition organization lost $160 million by betting against the consensus leader of the world's clean energy transition. You're doing it backwards, friend. You're supposed to be investing long in companies that are good at making a clean energy transition. Of course, he named his company that because he thought he would get more investors in it that way, and because he represents fossil fuel interests. And what do the fossil fuel interests think? They think the better way to transition to clean energy is slowly, so that we can still make money burning fossil fuels for the next 10 or 20 years, or however long we need to reach our retirement window, and then you can have your clean energy transition. That is real money, 15% of his assets under management gone with the wind. All right, now we'll talk about Jim McPherson. This is what I wanted to talk to you about earlier. I was hoping we would see this, and here it is. Matt Lynn said, wait, Tesla has to use a sensor other than vision to locate the wireless charging pad? I thought vision only was the solution for everything, winky face emoji. To which Jim McPherson explained, efficiency is exponentially correlated with precision in wireless charging. When kilowatts are in use, heat from excess impedance mismatch would be enormous. Driving does not require millimeter precision for 100% safety. It makes no difference if the car in front of you is 1,000 or 1,001 millimeters away. That's not true for wireless charging at max efficiency. You have to line it up exactly right if you're trying to do wireless transmission of power, as Nikola Tesla would have told you 100 years ago if you had asked him. He was transferring power wirelessly back then and trying to scale it up without luck. His tower, the Wardenclyffe Tower he was working on, was trying to transmit power wirelessly at scale, and he realized he was lacking the size equipment you would need. It would have to be way larger because it's so lossy, which is what Jim McPherson is explaining here. That's why you need the millimeter precision. Here's one from Coffee and Grit. Just to clarify, I told Grok to take us on a scenic curvy route. It didn't just randomly go a longer way to get somewhere in his post, because people were confused when he said, I just got back from a 4-hour demo drive in a new Tesla Model Y Premium, and I'm still kind of buzzing. I've watched the videos, I've read the stories, I thought I understood what FSD was. I did not even close. Because when you're actually in it and you let it do its thing, it's not a cool feature. It feels like you just stepped a few years into the future. I tried everything. FSD, regenerative braking, the acceleration, some self-parking, supercharging, and switching between driving and FSD on the fly. FSD was the part that messed with my brain in the best way. It handled city streets like a pro. It rolled through parking lots, found spots, self-parked. It went right through construction zones with workers out there directing traffic with flags, and it just did the right thing. Smooth, not sketchy at all. I kept waiting for the moment I'd have to grab the wheel and save it. I never had to take over. Didn't even have one moment where I felt like I might need to. Then the built-in Grok planned a scenic route that was actually fun. That's what his reply was about. Not just fastest route boring. And while it was driving, I played with the Grok Assistant mode Unhinged mode, I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing out loud because it felt like having a smart, slightly chaotic co-pilot that still stays useful. Regen braking was another shock. It takes like 5 minutes and then your brain clicks when you start thinking, why does every car not feel like this? Acceleration is stupid quick. Summon was straight up wild to see in person. Watching that car drive through the parking lot to meet me with no one on board was crazy. I'm telling you, it's a completely different in person than hearing about it from someone else. If you've been on the fence, go do a demo drive, give it time, try it on real streets, real parking lots, real situations, because after today, I get it. I'm ready to buy. What do you want to try most? Elon, this is truly the future. I am amazed. And Elon saw it and liked it and maybe reposted it. It got 12 million views, which is a lot. So good post there. Here's one from Elon Musk. Glad you're okay. My Tesla literally saved my life yesterday. What started as a normal drive turned terrifying fast. I unintentionally fasted for 17 hours, took some medicine, had a severe allergic reaction. My body shut down. I passed out while driving on the freeway, mid-conversation with my wife on the phone. You can read the rest of this anecdote here because emergency services got to him quickly enough. He was able to regain consciousness, get to the hospital, and get patched up with no accident occurring. People die in situations like this all the time because they don't drive a car that can pull itself over safely when it notices that they aren't paying attention anymore to driving. So I join Elon in being glad that person is okay instead of being a statistic because they were driving a Tesla. Here's one from Warren Redlick. People with DUI convictions, other traffic convictions, and poor credit will also want to stop owning a vehicle. It's a much better financial move for them because those things get a lot more costly for you. The more of them you rack up, you'd be way better off letting somebody else do the driving or letting a driverless robotaxi do the driving. Also, perhaps elderly people who drive a few miles and others who drive less than 5,000 miles a year, all of things have higher cost per mile. As a parent, I had to pay $2,500 a year for my teen to drive about 500 miles per year. $5 a mile is a lot. I think a lot of parents will tell their kids to get a robotaxi app instead of a license. Yeah, why not? It makes a lot of sense. That's why I said full-time college students were on the list, and others. So a good reply there to my post that you saw earlier. Here's one from Yana the EV Wire. You know the 5 incidents of Tesla robotaxis from NHTSA, which included a stopped robotaxi hit by a bus, 3 1 to 4 mile per hour incidents, and 1 minor damage object hit at 17 miles per hour. Well, I just found actual EV professionals share FUD like this on LinkedIn. I knew it was coming, but yeah, here it is. Somebody retweeting Fred Lambert's Electrac article or another similar one, talking about how there were 5 new crashes. All right, well, the crashes were all under 5 miles per hour. The kind of crashes that don't count as crashes at all and would not be reported by regular people, but they have to be reported under the rules for... See, that's a crash. A crash rips off part of the car. That's what people mean when they say a crash happened. They mean something very violent occurred and people were injured by it, right? One of the updates here, it says, was an earlier crash updated to include a hospitalization. Well, the after-the-fact update to include a hospitalization likely means somebody decided, hey, we should sue Tesla. The following day, the day after the crash, they were like, hey, in that 3 mile per hour collision, I should claim that I had a neck injury. I should go to a hospital and tell them I was injured in a crash. And that's what that update was about. I'm guessing. Of course, I don't have more information than that. Here's one from Futuraza. Hey, it's that video that I told you about, and I gave it a like. It's a subscribers only exclusive video by Futuraza, but he gave me permission to share it with you. Lucid exec leaves for General Motors. IQ at both companies increases. That's beautiful. If I could write that headline, if I could write a headline that clever for every one of my videos, a lot more people would watch them. That's fun. With Nick Gibbs, who is also great. I watched this whole video. I think I watched it a few times because it was looping on my phone while I was doing other things. So they also talk about unions and General Motors and Lucid. Lots of Lucids. LOL. Lots of Lucids. Trademark Bear from Bear's Workshop. Here's one from Akash Gupta. The math on this project should mass humble every AI lab on the planet. 1 cubic millimeter, 1/1,000,000th of a human brain. Harvard and Google spent 10 years mapping it. The imaging alone took 326 days. They sliced the tissue into 5,000 wafers, each 30 nanometers thick, ran them through a $6 million electron microscope, then needed Google's ML models to stitch the 3D reconstruction because no human team could process the output. They found 57,000 cells, 150 million synapses, 230 millimeters of blood vessels compressed into 1.4 petabytes of raw data. For context, 1.4 petabytes is roughly 1.4 million gigabytes from a speck smaller than a grain of rice of a human brain. Now scale that. The full human brain is 1,000,000 times larger than the sample he just described. You can read this whole article if you want to pause as I scroll down it. Yeah, the human brain is way more amazing than you already thought it was. What's the next post that I liked? Says good post. Tough week for Farzad, says Paul Mars. Sawyer Merritt said, news, cybercabs with no steering wheels spotted at Tesla's Giga Texas factory today. 2 months until mass production starts. But if you look at this photo of these cybercabs, interesting that there's one row of seats and the seats look white here. I'm not sure that's the upholstery color that we've seen for the seats of the cybercab before now. Here's one from Elon Musk that I retweeted with my guess at what happened. Here, Tesla reposting the new price of the all-wheel drive Cybertruck, $59,990. Tesla has been flooded with orders at this new price, $20,000 lower than it previously was, for a different version of Cybertruck. So it doesn't have everything that the $80,000 Cybertruck had. It doesn't have the air suspension. It doesn't have the steel vault cover with the drawer, the sub-trunk storage or whatever. It's got a spray bed, whatever you call that, instead. But if you didn't need a stainless steel bed for your Cybertruck and you didn't need the air suspension, 60 grand is a pretty good price for a Tesla pickup truck, right? Which is what they're reposting here. Lil Human's Big Impact at Big Impact Humans replied, how much will it be in 10 days? Because Elon Musk replied, that's the price for only 10 days. Elon's saying, depends how much demand we see at this price level. I think somebody told Elon we have to stop making Cybertruck because there isn't enough demand. And Elon said, I think there's plenty of demand. People just do not have the $80,000 they would need to buy it at our current price. If the price could be 25% lower than that, if it could be a $60,000 Cybertruck, there would be plenty of demand, you would see. And they said, no, we think people just don't want Cybertrucks. And Elon said, well, one way to find out, lower the price. Lower it to 60 grand and keep it there for 10 days, and we'll see how many orders we get. And I think on the first day that they lowered the price to 60 grand, they got enough orders to run full production through June That's what I think. They went from having dwindling orders to having way more orders than they can fulfill this month, next month, and the month after that. So why would Tesla want to lose money selling these Cybertrucks at 60 grand a piece, assuming the cost of making them will be more? The variable cost per additional Cybertruck made will be more than 60 grand. Because Elon sees that we are moving into a world where Optimus robots will be able to do the work today performed by human assembly line workers. And because the cost of paying 4 human workers, which is how many you need to hire if you want to be able to do 1 day's worth of labor, allowing for time off and vacations and, each of those humans to only work 40 hours that week so you don't have to pay them overtime as assembly workers. Plus their benefits, plus their taxes, plus their training costs, plus whatever other ancillary benefits are needed to have humans in your factory. That's a lot more money than it would cost you to pay the capital expense to purchase one Optimus robot who you can plug in, who will work all the time, apart from needing maintenance, right? You can leave that factory line running 20 hours a day or however long you need it to run and not need to hire 4 people to be able to staff to complete that same amount of work, right? Could that shave out 25% of the cost of a Cybertruck? It might. And if so, that's what Elon's doing here. To give you a much longer description than I gave it in my retweet, which is constrained by the amount of characters you can put in before it gives you the see more that people don't want to click. And that destroys your engagement statistics. Here's one from Wes at WMoral3. Coil springs are industry standard, and with dual valve adaptive dampers, we didn't compromise ride quality at all. After he posted all-wheel drive Cybertruck now starting at $59,990, Taylor Toole replied, Tesla's about to cook with this variant. Haters will complain about coil springs, but that's what you get when you buy a pickup. Most pickups don't have air suspension on them. If you go to your Ford dealership, go to your GMC dealer and ask them, hey, do you have air suspension? They'll say, no, we have coil springs. That's what pickups have. Only Tesla's pickup had air suspension. Maybe you could find an air suspension from one of those brands, but the standard is coil springs. And the last post that I liked this week came from Elon Musk. It's just one word, 6 characters. COMING. In response to Phil Beisel's post, I drove to a meeting this morning. Actually, I didn't drive at all. FSD did. From my driveway to the parking spot, 30 miles. In fact, I barely remember the drive. My brain was very focused on something else. 85% of my interventions are finding a parking spot. 15% are wanting to take a different route. 0% are safety critical. And that's a 100% true statement, said Phil. With the "it only gets better from here" retweet of Elon Musk talking to Devin Olson about how he doesn't drive anymore. Tesla does 99% of the driving. Christian Garcia, who I've never heard of before, replied, greatest shortcoming of FSD is that it cannot be prompted by language. If you could tell it, find a parking spot near the door or turn right the block after, the car wouldn't have to gas. I think Christian's wrong about this, actually. I think if you have your Grok assistant up and running in audio mode, talking to it and it talking to you, you can just tell it what you want. Hey, can you park in the shade of that tree on the left? I think your Tesla will do it. Elon Musk said it's coming, though. So that Grok integration or further integration of Grok may be what Elon is alluding to, unless you think differently, Loki. There's those ears. As I thank you for watching this video, I appreciate your support, each and every one of you. You are what make this channel possible for me and Loki to keep bringing you updates every week and I appreciate your support, especially my executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com, and see you in the next one.